In the 172nd year of the Galactic Confederation, alarms blared throughout Outpost Station Epsilon 9 as automated defenses failed catastrophically. Security screens showed a nightmarish scene. 3 Confederation outposts already obliterated, their final transmissions revealing only glimpses of chitinous limbs and nightmarish mandibles tearing through reinforced bulkheads like paper. Station Commander Zix Vela, a blue-skinned Arcturian with 4 arms currently all trembling, watched in horror as the attacking fleet approached. The Quartoth, a vicious hive mind species thought safely quarantined, had somehow broken containment and were systematically destroying research facilities across the sector. "They'll be here in 6 hours," announced Science Officer Trilnax, her bioluminescent facial patterns pulsing with fear. "The research in our vault. If they get it." "I know," Zix Vela interrupted. "The station housed revolutionary medical nanites that could save billions across the galaxy, or become weaponized to control minds on an unprecedented scale." The commander's inner eyelids flickered nervously as she studied the tactical display. Epsilon 9 hung in the void, a delicate snowflake of titanium and transparent aluminum, utterly defenseless against the approaching swarm. The nearest Confederation battlecruiser was 3 weeks away at maximum speed. "Sir," Communications Officer Leth Nar called out, voice quavering. "I'm receiving transmissions from the outer habitation ring. The refugees from Outpost 17. They saw what happened there. The Quartoth don't just kill. They feed." Footage played across the main screen, a security recording from Outpost 17 showing colonists being dragged alive into nightmarish organic processing chambers, their screams abruptly silenced as digested fluids dissolved flesh while preserving nervous systems. The room fell deathly silent except for the soft whirring of environmental systems. A junior officer nervously approached. "Commander, Protocol 47 Delta is available." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. With trembling fingers, Zix Vela accessed the classified protocol, marked with warning symbols and requiring triple authentication. The screen flashed red. "Warning. Extreme Hazearity Authorization. Deployment of Kelas 12 Death World Aesatis." "Is this wise?" questioned Security Chief Drav, mandibles clicking nervously. "The humans. They're barely civilized. Their diplomatic contingent has only been with the Confederation for 3 standard years. More animal than sentient, according to some xenobiologists." Zix Vela's 4 hands clenched into fists. "Have you ever met one?" "Drav. Once, at the Galactic Summit. They were disconcerting. Their eyes never stop moving, always scanning for threats. And they smile with those bone-white teeth. Predator's teeth. They're our only option," Zix Vela said firmly. "The Confederation classifies Earth as a death world for good reason. Its inhabitants survive daily conditions that would kill any of us in minutes. High gravity, toxic atmosphere, extreme temperature variations, thousands of predator species, microscopic pathogens. And the humans themselves," added Trilnax quietly. "Did you know they evolved as pursuit predators? Before they developed technology, they would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They can regulate their body temperature while running. They can heal from injuries that would be fatal to most species. They can save us." Zix Vela cut in, decision made. "Send the signal." The emergency beacon activated, broadcasting directly to the nearby human diplomatic vessel. The message was simple. Emergency assistance required. Threat level maximum. All protocols suspended. As the signal transmitted, Zix Vela looked out the viewport at the stars. The humans had a saying she'd once found puzzling. "Be careful what you wish for." Now, facing extinction, she understood. They were summoning monsters to fight monsters. But these monsters were on their side. For now, aboard the diplomatic vessel Terran Envoy, Commander Maya Chen slammed her palm on the emergency alert button, instantly waking her 4 crewmates from sleep cycles. Red lights bathed the corridors as the ship's systems shifted to combat readiness. "Status report," demanded Captain Alexei Volkov, a barrel-chested Russian with a scar running from eye to jaw, as he strode onto the bridge, still pulling on his uniform. "Epsilon 9 is under attack," Maya explained, pointing to approaching biosigns on the scanner. "The Quartov have broken quarantine." Engineer Jamal Washington whistled as he studied the tactical display. "Those are the nightmare bugs that digest their prey alive." "Right. While keeping the nervous system intact for maximum pain," confirmed security specialist Emma O'Neil, her red hair wild as she checked her personal weapons with practiced efficiency. "Supposedly evolved that way to harvest fear hormones." Communications officer Diego Reyes, youngest of the crew at 26, paled visibly. "And Epsilon 9 is asking for our help." "Us specifically, not the Confederation. They're invoking Protocol 47 Delta," Maya said grimly. "That's the 'we're completely screwed' button. It allows them to request help from potentially hazardous species in extreme circumstances." Emma grinned, an expression more predatory than humorous. 3 years of being treated like dangerous animals at diplomatic functions, and suddenly they're desperate for what makes us dangerous. Alexei moved to a wall panel, placing his palm against a scanner. The panel slid away, revealing a hidden arsenal of weapons far beyond the ceremonial armaments the Confederation permitted them. "Confederation intelligence would have a fit if they knew what we smuggled aboard," Jamal remarked, selecting a compact pulse rifle designed to penetrate exoskeletons. "If we succeed, they'll overlook it," Maya replied. "If we fail, they'll never know." The Terran envoy approached Epsilon 9 at maximum burn, its engines pushing well beyond safety parameters. The station hung against the void like a wounded creature, its outer rings already showing damage from preliminary attacks. "Multiple hull breaches detected," Diego reported. "Life support failing in sectors 7 through 12. I'm reading approximately 200 life signs remaining." "Docking procedures initiated," Jamal announced. "Be ready for immediate hostile contact." As the ship secured itself to an emergency airlock, the 5 humans performed final equipment checks. Unlike the bulky environmental suits favored by Confederation forces, the humans wore lightweight tactical gear that emphasized mobility over protection. "Remember," Maya addressed her team, "these aliens have never seen humans fight. They've only heard stories. Make those stories seem like understatements." The airlock cycled open, and collective gasps echoed through the arrival chamber as the 5 humans emerged. A delegation of station personnel, a menagerie of 17 different alien species, gathered to receive them, their expressions ranging from desperate hope to barely concealed revulsion. "Where is your environmental shielding?" demanded a hovering, gelatinous being. "Your exoskeletons, your respiratory filters." Emma stepped forward, checking the action on what looked like a primitive projectile weapon. "Don't need them. We breathe oxygen mixed with nitrogen, poisonous to half the galaxy. Our bones are internal, harder to break than your exoskeletons. And as for protection," she smiled, revealing teeth evolved for omnivorous consumption, "we are the protection." The station's alarm system blared as sensors detected the first wave of Quartov boarding craft burning through the outer hull. "Listen carefully," Maya addressed the terrified aliens. "When they'd reached that door, do exactly as we say. You're about to see what humans do best." "And what's that?" asked Commander Zixfella. Maya's eyes hardened as she checked her weapon. "Surviving the unsurvivable." The station shuddered as multiple hull breaches occurred simultaneously. Security monitors showed Quartov warriors swarming through the gaps. 8-limbed monstrosities with razor-edged exoskeletons and mandibles that could shear through metal. Their carapaces glistened with a sickly iridescence as they coordinated with terrifying precision, methodically slaughtering security teams in outer sections. "They're coming from 3 directions," Jamal announced, studying the station schematic. "East corridor breach in 30 seconds." The alien staff prepared to retreat, but froze in confusion as Emma and Alexei ran toward the incoming threat. "What are you doing?" shrieked Science Officer Trilnax. "That's suicide. That's tactics," Diego explained, assembling something from parts scavenged from the medical bay. "Humans don't just retreat. We counterattack." Maya grabbed Commander Zixvela by one of her 4 arms. "Get your essential personnel to Central Command. Secure the research. We'll handle the Kortov." The station's security cameras captured what followed, footage that would become legendary throughout the Confederation. The East Corridor filled with Kortov warriors, chittering in anticipation of easy prey. They rounded a corner to find a small human female standing alone, seemingly unarmed. 3 warriors rushed her at once, mandibles extended for the kill. What happened next defied the aliens' understanding of physics. Emma moved with impossible speed, using the creature's momentum against them. One Kortov found itself flipped onto its back, vulnerable underbelly exposed. Emma's combat knife, a simple metal blade that most species abandoned millennia ago for energy weapons, slid between armored plates with surgical precision. The creature convulsed as she targeted neural clusters that wouldn't be visible to normal eyes. The second creature lunged, only to receive a spray of chemicals directly in its sensory apparatus, a makeshift weapon Emma created from cleaning supplies. It staggered, disoriented, as she drove her boot heel through its thorax with a sickening crunch. The third backed away, attempting to summon reinforcements through the hive mind, when Alexei emerged from hiding and demonstrated another horrifying human capability: projectile weapons that used chemical propellants to launch metal slugs at supersonic speeds. The primitive but devastatingly effective weapon punched through the creature's carapace, splattering blue ichor across the walls. "Corridor clear," Emma reported through her comm, not even breathing hard. Moving to Junction 7. In the security center, the station's alien personnel watched in stunned silence. "By the eternal void," whispered Zixvela. "They're not just fighting. They're hunting them." On another monitor, Jamal was shown converting standard medical equipment into explosive devices. "The human is weaponizing our healing technology," observed Trilnax with disturbed fascination. Maya nodded. "On Earth, we learned to use anything available. The environment tried to kill us daily. We had to get creative." The screen showed more Kortov forces regrouping, adapting their tactics, only to encounter another human innovation: psychological warfare. Diego had hacked into the station's communication system, broadcasting frequencies that disrupted the hive mind coordination. "They're using sound as a weapon," Drav realized. "How do they know the resonance patterns that would affect Kortov neural structures?" "We didn't," Maya explained, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "But humans understand predators. We've been prey and hunter both. We recognize patterns instinctively." A massive explosion rocked the station as Jamal's improvised bombs detonated, sealing off an entire section, and dozens of Kortov warriors with it. "Casualties acceptable," Alexei reported coldly. Moving to Phase 2. The aliens exchanged horrified glances. They were witnessing something unprecedented in the Confederation's history: a species that ran toward danger instead of away, that instinctively calculated overwhelming odds and found ways to survive anyway, that turned everyday objects into deadly weapons. "I understand now," Zixvela said quietly, "why Earth is classified as a death world. It's not the planet that's dangerous. It's what the planet created." 12 hours in, the situation deteriorated. The security feeds showed 17 Kortov vessels surrounding the station, each disgorging fresh waves of warriors. Epsilon 9's exterior defenses were failing, and life support systems were damaged in 3 sectors. In the makeshift command center, Maya plotted defensive strategies while the alien staff watched with growing fear and fascination. They'd witnessed the humans go without sleep, food, or proper hydration, conditions that would severely impair most species. "How are you still functioning?" asked Trilnax, observing Maya's steady hands as she recalibrated a targeting system. Your biological processes should be collapsing from stress toxins. Cortisol's an old friend, Maya replied without looking up. Humans evolved to function under extreme stress. Our endocrine system actually sharpens our perception in crisis. Another explosion rocked the station. Alarms wailed as a bulkhead failed, exposing a medical bay to vacuum. 3 aliens were caught in the decompression. 2 were immediately sucked toward the breach. Alexei, passing the corridor, reacted with inhuman speed. He anchored himself to a support beam with one arm while catching a floating Phelan engineer with the other, the muscles in his arm standing out like steel cables under the strain. "Impossible," whispered Zixvela. "The pressure differential. The temperature. No species could." "Earth gravity is 1.4 times your standard," Jamal explained, sealing the breach with a scavenged panel. "We're used to higher pressure. As for cold, humans have survived temperatures approaching absolute zero with minimal protection. Space is just another hostile environment." In the secondary lab, Maya had converted a research area into a trauma center. Alien medical personnel watched in horror and awe as she performed procedures that violated every principle of Confederation medicine. Using modified nanites to cauterize wounds, improvising splints from equipment parts, even performing manual blood transfusions between compatible species. "Your approach is barbaric," a Vesperian medical officer commented, watching Maya reset a compound fracture with her bare hands. "Yet undeniably effective." "Earth medicine developed differently," Maya explained, not breaking concentration as she saved a patient others had deemed unsalvageable. "Your civilizations focused on eliminating disease through genetic engineering. We focused on surviving trauma. Battlefield medicine, catastrophic injuries, mass casualties. These were our teachers." An alert sounded. The communication array had been damaged. Without it, they couldn't transmit the critical research data to Confederation archives. The exterior repair would expose anyone to both vacuum and lethal radiation from a nearby star flare. "Impossible to repair," declared Commander Zixvela. "The radiation levels would kill any repair crew instantly." Diego stepped forward, already donning a minimal EVA suit. "Radiation's not that big a deal for humans. We evolved under constant bombardment from our sun. Our cells repair radiation damage continuously." "You'll be exposed to at least 70 rems," protested Trilnax. "No sentient can survive that." Diego shrugged. "Humans have walked away from hundreds of rems. It'll make me sick later, sure, but the mission comes first." The alien staff watched in disbelief as Diego exited the airlock. The external cameras showed him working methodically, despite his hands beginning to blister from radiation exposure, his movements precise even as blood seeped from his nose into his helmet. 20 minutes later, 10 beyond what Confederation medical science deemed survivable, Diego returned, communication array restored. He collapsed immediately, vomiting blood. Maya injected him with anti-radiation compounds while explaining to the horrified aliens, "His bone marrow will regenerate. Humans are remarkably resilient at the cellular level." Zixvela shook her head in wonder. "You speak of potentially fatal radiation exposure as casually as I might discuss a minor inconvenience." "That's because for us, it is minor," Maya responded, already moving to the next crisis. "Earth is a planet of natural disasters, predators, diseases, and extreme environments. What you call catastrophes, we call Wednesday. What doesn't kill us makes you stronger," Zixvela offered, having heard the human phrase. "No," Maya corrected grimly as another explosion rocked the station. "What doesn't kill us better run, because now we're angry." 30 hours into the siege, during a lull in the fighting, Jamal extracted a peculiar device from a dead Quartoth warrior's carapace. The palm-sized object pulsed with bioluminescent light, tendrils extending into the creature's neural tissue. "This doesn't belong here," he muttered, examining it under a microscope. "The integration pattern is artificial. Someone's modified these creatures. Security Chief Drav clicked his mandibles skeptically. Impossible. The Quartov are apex predators with rudimentary intelligence, not technologically advanced. Exactly, Jummel said, excitement building in his voice. So how are they piloting ships with hyperspace capabilities? How do they bypass 3 layers of Confederation quarantine protocols simultaneously? He connected the device to a scanner, revealing complex neural patterns. Look at this wave signature. It's transmitting on frequencies designed to mimic the Quartov hive mind, but it's carrying external instructions. Trilnax examined the data, her skin blanching to pale green. This technology shouldn't exist. The neural integration is beyond anything in Confederation records. Emma, cleaning ichor from her combat knife, suddenly froze. Wait, I've seen something like this before, in the Confederation Museum of Extinct Civilizations. The neural manipulation style matches artifacts from the Exarillion Collective. The room fell silent. The Exarillions were wiped out 15,000 years ago, Zixvela finally said. Their biotechnology was deemed too dangerous to exist. The Confederation sterilized their entire home system. Apparently. Alexei observed dryly. The obituary was premature. Maya accessed the station's secure database, bringing up classified files on the Exarillions, a species that had nearly conquered the early Confederation through parasitic neural control before being defeated. This is why they're targeting research stations, she realized. They're not random attacks. They're specifically hitting facilities developing neural technology. Jamal's fingers flew over the interface. Epsilon 4 was researching synaptic bridges. Outpost 17 specialized in neurotransmitter amplification. And us. Project Lazarus, Trilnax whispered. Our classified research into neural pathway regeneration. Maya turned to the aliens, her expression grave. You're not just growing replacement neural tissue, are you? You've found a way to transfer consciousness between bodies. Zixvela's 4 arms performed a gesture of affirmation. It was meant to save lives, to transfer the minds of the fatally injured into cloned bodies. The procedure would allow a consciousness to survive even catastrophic physical damage. Or, Emma interjected, it would allow the Exarillions to transfer themselves into any compatible host. Combined with their parasitic abilities, they could take control of key figures throughout the Confederation. Politicians, military leaders, scientists. Diego, still recovering from radiation sickness, coughed violently before adding, and no one would know. The consciousness transfer would be complete. Memories, personality, everything. The original person would still be there, just passenger in their own body. On the security monitors, the Quartov ships had changed formation. They were no longer attacking indiscriminately, but focusing their firepower on the station's research vault. They don't want to destroy the station, Alexei realized. They want your research. For the first time, the humans saw true fear in the alien staff's expressions. If the Exarillions gain this technology, Zixvela said quietly, the Confederation falls within a standard month. Billions of minds enslaved. And no defense would be possible because the enemy would be within, wearing the faces of those we trust. Maya checked her weapon. Not if we stop them first. How? Demanded Drav. We're 5 humans and 32 civilians against an army of enhanced Quartov, and whoever's controlling them. A slow predatory smile spread across Emma's face. We're not just any humans. We're Death Worlders. And if there's one thing humans understand better than any species in the galaxy, it's extinction-level threats. Alexei finished. We've been preventing our own extinction since we climbed down from the trees. We need a war room, Alexei announced, commandeering the station's main laboratory. The humans transformed it within hours, converting research equipment into tactical displays and communication stations. The alien staff watched with growing unease as the 5 humans implemented strategies from Earth's bloody history, concepts completely foreign to species who evolved beyond warfare millennia ago. Phase 1. Force multipliers. Maya explained, displaying a station schematic. "We're outnumbered, so we make each of us count for 50. Emma took over training a hastily assembled security team composed of species with useful biological capabilities. Vesperians with venomous stingers, Arcturians with four-armed strength, photosynthetic dendrites who could see in ultraviolet. "Your evolutionary advantages are weapons," she told them, demonstrating techniques that utilize their unique biology. "The Phalan's chaneleonic skin isn't just for mating displays. It's perfect for ambush tactics. The Medusan's tentacles have enough grip strength to crush exoskeletons." Meanwhile, Diego, still weak from radiation exposure, worked feverishly at a communications console. "Asymmetric warfare requires coordination," he explained to Zixfella. "Earth guerrilla fighters developed methods to communicate when vastly outgunned by superior forces. He created a system using harmonics that piggybacked on the station's power grid, allowing the defenders to coordinate without the Xerillians intercepting their transmissions." In the medical lab, the aliens recoiled as Jamal converted life-saving equipment into deadly traps. Nanite injectors became delivery systems for toxins. Tissue regenerators were reconfigured to accelerate necrosis. Surgical lasers were modified to blind Quartov optical sensors. "You're destroying healing technologies," protested a medical officer. "I'm ensuring they'll exist tomorrow," Jamal responded without looking up from his work. "Sometimes you have to sacrifice the ideal of medicine to preserve its future." Most disturbing to the aliens was Maya's approach. Using her knowledge of xenobiology, she synthesized compounds specifically designed to attack the neural pathways where the Xerillian parasites integrated with host bodies. "This will cause excruciating pain to the Quartov," warned Trilnax. "Yes," Maya acknowledged simply. "It will." Simultaneously, Alexei implemented psychological warfare tactics, using the station's environmental systems to create areas of sensory disruption that would disorient the hive-mind coordination. "You're making sections of the station into death traps," observed Drav with newfound respect. "I'm making them into Earth," corrected Alexei. "Unpredictable, hostile, full of things that want to kill you." As the humans armed the alien volunteers with improvised weapons, Trilnax approached Maya privately. "Your species terrifies me," she admitted. "You speak of peace and preservation, yet in the same breath, you design weapons that target neural systems with horrifying precision." "That's what made humans dominant on Earth," Maya explained, calibrating a delivery system for her neurotoxin. "We weren't the strongest or fastest. Pound for pound, we were outclassed by dozens of predator species, so we became the most adaptable and the most ruthless when necessary. But how do you live with such contradictions? You're a healer who creates poisons. Your engineer builds with one hand and destroys with the other." Maya's eyes met the aliens. "That's humanity's secret. We contain contradictions that would tear other species apart. We nurture and destroy. We love and hate. We build civilizations while preparing for their collapse. Our minds evolved to hold opposing truths simultaneously, because on Earth, the peaceful herbivore and the lethal predator often had to be the same creature to survive." An alert sounded. The Quartov ships were launching a coordinated attack on multiple airlocks simultaneously. The 5 humans exchanged glances, a wordless communication born from facing death together. "They're coming for the research vault," Alexei announced to the assembled defenders. "Remember your training. Remember what's at stake." "We can't possibly win," whispered a junior officer. "The mathematical probabilities." "Humans don't care about probabilities," interrupted Emma, checking her weapons one final time. "On Earth, we survived supervolcanoes, ice ages, meteor impacts, and our own nuclear mistakes. Each one should have exterminated us by any reasonable calculation." She grinned fiercely. "Death World statistics are different. When extinction comes calling, we don't calculate survival odds. We make extinction blink first." 48 hours into the siege, after repelling 4 major assaults, The command center was a ruin of burned equipment and makeshift barricades. 17 station personnel were dead, and supplies were critically low. The remaining defenders gathered around a holographic display showing the Quartoth fleet receiving reinforcements. "We can't win defensively," Maya announced, her face streaked with soot and alien blood. "They can send reinforcements indefinitely. We need to cut off the head." She pointed to one vessel at the fleet's center, larger than the others, with distinct biological-mechanical hybrid architecture. "The control ship," Alexei confirmed, "where the Tyrillians are coordinating the attack. You want to attack them." Zixvela's voice rose in disbelief. 5 humans against hundreds of Quartoth and an unknown number of Tyrillians. "It's what we do," Alexei said with a grim smile. "Humans don't just survive death worlds. We learn to hunt there." Maya outlined a plan so audacious that the alien staff could barely comprehend it. The 5 humans would take their diplomatic vessel, which they revealed contained stealth technology the Confederation wasn't aware Earth possessed, and infiltrate the Cyrillian command ship while the station's defenders created a diversion. "This is suicide," Drav stated flatly. "Only if we fail," Emma replied, strapping additional knives to her combat harness. "And humans have a particular aversion to failure when extinction is the alternative." As they prepared to depart, Diego, still pale from radiation sickness, but insistent on participating, uploaded a virus he created into the station's communication system. "When we give the signal, broadcast this on all frequencies," he instructed Trilnax. "It'll temporarily disrupt the neural control of any Quartoth within range. Should buy you about 3 minutes. 3 minutes to do what?" she asked. "To run," Maya said simply. "If we fail, destroy the research and evacuate." The Terran envoy detached from the station, its heat signature masked, its profile merely invisible against the void. The aliens watched on sensors as the tiny craft slipped between the massive Quartoth vessels, approaching the command ship from its ventral blind spot. "Even if they reach it," Zixvela whispered, "how will they breach the hull without detection?" Her question was answered when the sensors showed a minuscule heat bloom. The humans had attached themselves to a waste ejection port and were cutting their way in through what most species would consider the most repulsive and hazardous entry point possible. Of course, Drav clicked his mandibles in reluctant admiration. "They're entering through the excretion system. Humans evolved as pursuit predators," Trilnax recalled. "They would track prey by scent and waste trails. They're practically immune to biological contaminants that would kill most species." Inside the Cyrillian vessel, the 5 humans moved like shadows through pulsing organic corridors. Their tactics evolved from millennia of predator evasion on Earth, moving silently, using distractions, exploiting enemy psychology. "Classic asymmetric warfare," Alexei murmured, as they located the ship's central nervous system, a massive chamber where 5 Tyrillians, long thought extinct, control thousands of Quartoth through biological interfaces. "Never attack where they're strongest. Hit them where they're vulnerable," Maya agreed, deploying Diego's disruptive transmitter to temporarily sever the Cyrillians' control over their warrior drones. What followed was not a battle but a massacre. 5 humans moving with deadly efficiency against an enemy suddenly isolated from their primary defense. Emma's blades found vital organs. Jamal's improvised explosives severed critical systems. Alexei's projectile weapons penetrated supposedly impervious Tyrillian bioarmor. Maya approached the lead Cyrillian, a pale, tentacled being whose eyes widened in incomprehension at the sight of her. In its dying moments, the creature managed a question in the Confederation standard language. "What are you?" Maya injected her neurotoxin directly into the creature's central nervous system. "We're what evolution creates when a species has to survive on a planet that's constantly trying to kill it. We're humans. Remember that in whatever hell you're going to." From the station, the defenders watched in disbelief as the Quartoth fleet suddenly fell into disarray. Ships colliding, warriors attacking each other, coordinated assault patterns dissolving into chaos. "They did it," whispered Zixvela. "They actually did it." The Confederation relief fleet arrived 3 days later to find an unexpected scene. Epsilon 9 intact, the Tyrillian threat neutralized, and the Quartoth, now freed from parasite control, beginning peaceful communication. In the station's command center, Admiral Firenax of the Confederation Navy listened in astonishment as Zixvela explained how 5 humans accomplished what would have taken a Confederation battle group. They saved the station, secured the research, exposed a hidden threat, and even managed to turn enemies into potential allies. The Quartoth were victims, Maya explained, her arm in a makeshift sling from a dislocated shoulder. The neural parasites suppressed their higher brain functions, reducing them to biological weapons. With the Tyrillians dead, their natural intelligence is reasserting itself. The Admiral's tentacles rippled with disbelief. "And you determined this how?" "We examined their biology," Jummel said, showing data on his tablet. The parasites targeted areas analogous to the human amygdala and frontal lobe, centers for emotion and higher reasoning. Classic predator enhancement, keeping the aggression while suppressing empathy and complex thought. Earth parasites do similar things, Diego added. Toxoplasma makes rodents attracted to cat urine, essentially mind-controlling them into becoming easier prey. We recognize the pattern. Admiral Firenax studied the 5 humans with newfound respect and wariness. Emma still cleaned blood from her knives. Alexei's face bore fresh burned scars. Maya continued treating patients despite her injuries. Diego coughed blood occasionally from radiation damage. Jamal's hands were stained with cerulean biomatter. "We've misjudged the humans," Zixvela concluded. "We saw them as dangerous because they come from a world that would kill most of us in minutes. We fail to understand what that means." "And what does it mean?" the Admiral asked. "It means they don't just survive. They solve problems we can't imagine. They see opportunities where we see only threats. They adapted to a world that tried to kill them at every turn, and instead of merely surviving it, they learned to thrive." The medical data told a shocking story. The humans had sustained injuries that would have killed most species, yet they continued fighting. Their bodies showed evidence of cellular repair mechanisms far beyond Confederation medical understanding. "Your medical records indicate you shouldn't be alive," the Admiral noted, reviewing Maya's file. "You absorbed radiation doses that should have caused complete systemic failure." "Earth's background radiation is higher than Confederation standard," she shrugged. "We evolved robust repair mechanisms." In the aftermath, the Galactic Confederation reclassified Earth from potentially hazardous species to emergency response specialists. A new division was formed within the Confederation, the Death World Response Team, with humans at its core, specialists in the unthinkable, solvers of the impossible. As the 5 humans prepared to return to Earth, now heroes of the Confederation, Maya reflected on how their perspective as Death World survivors gave them advantages no one expected. "We come from a world where the air can kill you with invisible pathogens, where the ground can shake and swallow cities, where storms can level civilizations, and where thousands of species evolved specifically to hunt us. We didn't just survive Earth. Earth made us who we are." "And who are we?" Diego asked. Maya smiled as she looked out at the stars, thinking of new frontiers and new challenges ahead. "We're humanity, and the galaxy hasn't seen anything yet." The Confederation would soon learn that humans didn't just respond to emergencies, they reshaped the very concept of what was possible. The Death Worlders had arrived on the galactic stage, and the universe would never be the same. The end.